Eric, back at the Naturopath. Thanks for coming back to my channel and checking out the videos. Do I have any recommendations for functional dyspepsia? So let's have a look at that term, functional dyspepsia. So what we're talking about, dyspepsia basically is a problem with the stomach. Often it involves a symptom called heartburn. So it can be belching, heartburn, feeling of fullness, indigestion. Sometimes it can be relieved by eating food. It can also sometimes involve problems further down the gastrointestinal tract, down the gut. Bloating can occur as a consequence, and weakness and fatigue, and then of course insomnia can come along. All these issues can occur with a functional problem of the stomach. So if you look at Mayo Clinic, or you go to WebMD or stuff like that, you'll see that there's no known cause. We don't really know what causes it, but what we have found is that there is an increased incidence of functional dyspepsia amongst people who've been sexually abused in the past. There is an increased incidence with anxiety and depression. There is an increased incidence of people who are known to be regular takers of Advil, for example, ibuprofen, or NSAID drugs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. So these can cause gastric problems, heartburn, for example. So if you're taking pills every day and you've got functional dyspepsia, that's likely going to be part of the causation. If you're a very nervous person, a very anxious person, this could also, likely be involved. The emotions of a person very much affect various organs of that person. I've seen this in the clinic so many times. Very nervy people. The other thing I would look at with functional dyspepsia would be the food intake of the person. How are they eating? What are they eating? And when are they eating? Are they having a bag of Lay's chips in front of Netflix, for example? Are they doing that regularly? Especially if there's soda drinks or alcohol involved in it. So it's important to look at the habits of the person who has this problem, rather than to say, I don't know what caused it, but here's a pill. So it's always an intelligent choice is to try and understand the cause. So if you've got a loved one who's got dyspepsia, or you've got it yourself, the question to ask is, what am I doing that's contributing now to this problem? Because you can change things that are occurring now. Maybe you can't change issues that occurred a long time ago. But if you've got anxiety and depression, well, you can get help for that, for example. And it's also important maybe to seek some professional counseling help, for these kind of issues, because often these emotional issues will result in eating kind of issues. So I've seen this with my own father for many years, who had a lot of anxiety and depression, and he loved eating ice cream. He loved eating cookies. So he would eat 20 cookies a day, no problem. And then he'd be burping and bloating all evening and not understanding why, and then going to gastroenterologists for bowel examinations, when basically he had a knife up to his own throat. So don't let that be you, for example, eating far too much food, like late at night. Or in my book, I wrote, in the book Candida Crusher, I wrote an article, do you treat your stomach like a cement mixer? Many people do. They'll throw everything in here, and of course what happens if you ever made cement, or concrete, I think they call it concrete. When you put everything in the cement mixer and turn it on, if it's overloaded, it's going to spill out everywhere. It's called GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease. So GERD, or being spilly as an adult, often means you've put way too much down into the cement mixer. All right, too much food's going to slop out everywhere. So if you don't overfill the mixer, easy to get the stuff out, easy to get the next lot in. But if you overfill it, man, you're going to have a hell of a mess cleaning it all up. And we don't want that, do we? So my take on it, need to look at what you're eating. Need to look at the emotional state of the person who's eating. Because usually there's one and two. I find two things together. So emotional stuff going on there, and that inappropriate eating of the wrong kind of foods, with the wrong kind of day, at the wrong time of day, and at the wrong quantity. Thanks for tuning in.